Today I'm in Saskatoon and I'm joined by Fraser and Vanessa from YXL Properties. We're parked right in front of the 16-unit building that he's got under contract. Today we're checking out their number 5 flip. And what's really exciting is Fraser's actually on the cusp of transitioning into real estate full-time.
We picked it up at a purchase price of $1.4 million, which is $87,500 a door. Projected profits about $43,500. And investor profit should be about $21,750. So we have almost $300,000 built in on equity on the buy.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video we're catching up with Fraser Nybo again, but actually not exactly. It's going to be a giant compilation video of some of my favorite moments and some moments you guys have never seen before of us with Fraser Nybo in Saskatchewan, looking at some of his flip projects as well as his larger multifamily buildings. I know you guys have loved these videos because they've done so well in the past, and we thought let's just bring together all the great information that Fraser shared with us into one amazing video. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and let's jump into it. We're back in Saskatoon with Fraser again, and so today we're going to be checking out his most recent acquisition. It's kind of unlike anything else you've done, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than what we're used to, so
I'm really excited to be bringing you guys this story. We're diving deep into the numbers unlike anything we've ever done before, and specifically what this story is 16 units, $87,000 a unit, and we're talking $90,000 net operating income. Let's get into it. First of all, thank you, Fraser, for being willing to share this information. I know my audience is constantly just dying to learn more about bigger deals, and the fact that you're willing to just break down the numbers for us, that's honestly fantastic. So first of all, I just want to thank you for doing this.
yeah, no problem at all. I love sharing the numbers, and I love talking about the numbers behind deals and how it's structured. I know that's one of the biggest barriers or challenges that people face when putting any type of deal together. So yeah, anything that I can help you guys with, I love to do it.
So the reason that we have this on the side of his truck right now is we're parked right in front of the 16-unit building that he's got under contract. So Fraser hasn't closed on it yet, so we can't actually do a walking tour of it, but we thought let's break down the high-level concept of how this deal works in front of the building. So if you don't mind, just kind of walk us through what this project looks like.
Yeah, definitely. This is a 16-unit apartment complex. It has 14 two-bedrooms, 2 one-bedroom units, just on either side of the mechanical room. They're large, just very good units, well kept. A lot of them are renovated. A lot are dated too, but good shape overall. We picked it up at a purchase price of $1.4 million, which is $87,500 a door. Going rate in the city right now is roughly $105,000 to, I've seen them go $125 plus, and so it is a bargain. The rents are undervalued in this property. Average rents are $770, and in the area you can push about $850, $900. So that's an added feature also. So yeah, basically we bought this property with equity built into it. It's not closed yet, but
yeah,
we're deep in due diligence. We have a lot of money tied up in this thing already. We have our investors all lined up. We're just getting JVs signed here in the next week or two, and probably by the time this video airs, it'll be hard,
yeah,
we'll be hard on the money.
I'm so excited. This is amazing. This is inspiring because this is the sort of buildings I want to take down too. And first thing you can even notice just from the outside, obviously purpose built. Looks like 3 stories, so no elevator, which is great. So you're not going to get into those costs, especially with 16 units. That can really be burdensome. Looks like a flat roof on top.
No, it's a pitched roof.
Oh, is it?
It is a pitched roof, and it's got new shingles on 3 sides. The boiler's 9 years old. The water heater's 7 years old. The furnace is in good shape. It's just a well-kept unit. This is an older gentleman who owned this building. They're transitioning out of their rentals right now. This is actually the last unit they have for sale, and I just caught him at the right time. And yeah, I'm excited to get into it.
Nice. And so, private deal, right?
Private deal, yeah.
So we won't necessarily get super deep into it, but how do you approach someone on a private deal like this? This seller wasn't originally necessarily thinking of selling, right? You approached them.
Yeah, exactly. I caught them at the right time. I actually spoke with the wife, and she said the husband's actually at the building right now. So I was on the phone, so I hung up the phone. I was like, okay, I'll be right there. So I come over here, and I kind of told you this story a little bit earlier today, and he walked me through it, we checked it out, and he walked me through a couple of the vacant units, and then I went downstairs, I checked out the mechanical room, and then I remember I was scratching down numbers on my notepad on a washing machine, and then I went up and presented the numbers to him, and we ended up working out a deal in the next couple of days. So, and 1.4 is the price that we came in at.
And so when negotiating on a private deal like this, are you making that offer in writing? Is it verbal back and forth until you narrow down the details?
Off-market deals, I find this with single-family homes often too. It's a lot of verbal. We don't really pen or ink anything until we have something hammered out, and it's just easier for everybody. Sellers don't want to go through it, and they don't even know how to do up their own contracts half the time. So we do verbals on a deal, and then we will put it in ink.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So how do you determine 1.4? Why did this work for you?
So I know a good price in the city is about 100, 105. Like that's what average is going for in the city per unit, per door, and. So I know a building that was purchased a little bit down the street actually at $66,000 a door roughly, but it was in major disrepair. So I actually started at that. So I offered him $1 million for this building, and it works out to $66,000 or $67,000 a door. And then he came back at 1.5, and then when we were kneeling down working on a stove, I was helping him with a stove, and then I came back at 1.25. And then he came back at 1.4 and said, that's it. And then I think I asked him if he would do 1.3. He said no. He said 1.4 is as low as we can go. So I told him I would go home and think about it and get back to him. I still knew it was a good deal, and I was interested in it. I was actively looking for multifamily buildings. So I went home, reran all my numbers. I called him back the next day and said, we'll take it. So. Then,
awesome.
I love
it.
Yeah, so then we did the agreement up, and it went to his lawyers. It was all signed, and yeah, we're moving forward on it. So yeah, it's good.
Sweet.
It's exciting.
All right, so let's now dive a little bit deeper into the numbers. So we got the 1.4 million purchase price that you negotiated. What's the rest look like?
All right, so your purchase price is 1.4. That gives us a down payment of $400,000 and closing costs. So 1.4 million at a 25% down payment is actually $350,000. But then we add another 50 on top for due diligence and closing, and that's just all your inspections and stuff like that.
And it's a lot more expensive when buying a large multifamily than a single family house.
Yeah, and then as the building gets bigger, your due diligence price will go up too, because especially if you do CMHC financing, because they charge a fee. So there's a balance you have to weigh, and it's basically, do you want a really good rate and pay the fee, and it takes a long time, or do you want to close it quickly with conventional financing? So there are good ways to do it, but either way is a good way. You just have to choose what's best for you. And then this building has a gross operating income of about $151,500. And then the net operating income is roughly $90,000. So that's all your income expenses, and not including debt service. So it's a good building. It's a true 7 cap, and I'm saying true because a lot of people, like we spoke earlier, they don't take into account a lot of the expenses that need to be taken into account. I actually have $100 a unit, so $1,600 a month, tied into the expenses on this, and that's calculated in the 7 cap. So
yeah, it's really shocking how many sellers seem to get forgetful around selling time. All they seem to remember for expenses is taxes and maybe insurance.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what about like repairs and maintenance? What about management? What about vacancy?
Yeah.
All those additional details, and those can dramatically impact your numbers. So it's really important to understand you can lie to yourself with numbers if you're like cherry picking the numbers, right? So it's really important during your due diligence process to make sure you really understand, is that a true 7 cap, or is that, you know, a pie in the sky 7 cap?
Exactly, and you can lie to yourself and bend the numbers however you want, but it's not benefiting anybody, because if you get into this building and the numbers aren't performing how you want them to or how you projected it, it'll affect everybody. And if you have investors on it, they probably won't be happy. So yeah, do your due diligence. And then another thing with multifamily buildings that I love is a lot of people get hung up on the cash flow. They'll say like, oh, the cash flow is not enough for the amount of money that we're putting in, but you need to take into account that just the ability to raise the rents. So if you raise the rents $50 a unit in a house with a basement suite, you're up $100. But if you do that with a multifamily apartment complex, say even 16 units, it just compounds. And then you have your capital pay down, gets paid down so much quicker. These buildings appreciate differently than single family homes. They're valued just differently.
Yeah, a lot more specific to the earnings, right?
Exactly,
So
it's all based on
it at a 7 cap, but you've now increased the rents $50 each. It can dramatically increase the actual value of the property.
Yeah, and this building's actually a really good example of that. We bought it at we paid 1.4, rents are 770, so the numbers work out. If we drive the rents up to 900, and rents are roughly in that area, in this area, 850, 900. It actually, this is all backed by CMHC too, or verified. It drives the value of the building up to 1.7 million. And I'm sure I can go in and drop expenses in there too, so that can create a bigger spread in that. So we have almost $300,000 built in on equity on the buy.
Yeah.
So that's the power of off-market deals.
Yeah, this is super exciting. And again, I really appreciate you breaking it down for us. So I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, how and where did this $400,000 come from? So let's dive into it with another sheet.
Yeah.
Whole second.
Yeah,
shot,
cool.
We'll be good. Slide
So
a little more to the right.
So I'll get slammed on social media for that.
All right, so just to summarize again, we got our purchase price 1.4. We got 400,000 with the down payment and closing. So you got 400,000 that was just burning a hole in your pocket?
No, not at all. So for deals like this, you have to bring investors together. That was actually a big thing for Vanessa and I. We did the conventional way. We bought a house, renovated the basement, bought another house 3 years later, and it was just a slow process. So we started working with investors the last few years, and it's just, we've been able to compound our growth. And instead of doing the stepping stone of buying property slowly and then getting into flipping and then getting into multifamily when you have those cash reserves, we just made it happen a lot quicker, basically.
Yeah, using other people's money is the fastest way to scale up your business, right?
Yeah.
So let's kind of talk through what the structure actually looked like.
Okay, so we need 400,000 from investors. So for this deal, we were giving away 75% of the building, so 18.75 per 100,000. Then YXL, our company, retains 25% for finding the deal and putting it together.
And so I know a lot of novice investors, whether they're on the finding the deal side or the inserting money as a money partner, at first they kind of struggle to understand why this is important or why this happens, that there's value in just finding the deal. But the key is, especially when you're sourcing this as a private deal, there's a lot of time and effort that goes in. Because it's not like you just talk to this one seller and you buy this property.
Yeah, exactly.
You probably talk to dozens, if not hundreds of sellers before you're able to find the right deal at the right price and the right terms.
Plus all the back end work, having to track everybody down and contact information. And there's just a whole bunch of work that people do not see. And
so do you mind, is there an exact formula you're using to determine the 25%, or how do you figure that out?
No, I just talked with a couple other people that were doing buildings of this size, and this seemed like a fair giveaway for investors. 18.75 per 100,000. That's cash flow, equity appreciation, and capital pay down. They get the whole meal. And our investors, this deal is already funded. They're more than happy doing that. They're excited about this deal. So 25%, it just was the number that worked out, and that's kind of where the cards fell, I guess.
Awesome.
So yeah.
And so Fraser's actually drawn out for us like an entire little org chart here. So if you don't mind, just kind of walk us through how the deal actually ended up coming together.
Yeah, okay, so basically I got the building under contract. I sent it off to financing right away, and they said through CMHC we could actually get up to 81% loan to value, up to 85%, but it's going to fall right around 81%. So that's essentially $100,000. And then over here you have, there's the option of a vendor take back on the table. So basically the seller leaves money in the property for X amount of years, and the value is $100,000 on that. So basically we had to raise $200,000. So from investor one, they put $100,000 into the deal for an 18.75% stake in the building. And then investor two did the same thing for $100,000 for an 18.75% stake in the building. And then because we got the high ratio mortgage, we essentially keep 18.75 in the building. And then with the vendor take back, that's essentially us raising another 100,000. So that YXL is keeping another 18.75. So basically the investors are just under 20% each, and then YXL's shares added with the 25% originally end up at 62.5% of the building.
Yeah. I love it. This really spells it out for people. And again, just in case anyone's confused about where this 100,000 comes from, again, remember they originally planned to do 75% loan to value. So because of the fact that they were able to actually increase that, that was considered essentially similar to the finder's fee here, where you're really bringing value or adding value because you went to the effort of getting that financing.
And another thing to touch base on with that, the investors are actually really happy because we can keep the group really small now. We're not dealing with 5 people on one deal. Yeah. You're more mobile. If there's equity built in and we can pull equity out and go into another building, it's a small party. We can, it's just, you're more maneuverable. So everybody's really happy about that actually.
Yeah, I love it. And I, again, just want to thank you so much for taking the time to break this down. I know it provides a lot of value for the audience. If people are interested in learning more or reaching out to you, what's the best way to get in contact?
Yeah, you can just follow me on Facebook at YXL Real Estate Investments, or you can follow me on Instagram at Fraser Nybo, or go to our website at yxlrealestate.ca. And yeah, you can get in touch with me any of those ways. And awesome. Yeah, I'd love to chat with you.
So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and reach out to Fraser if you want to get in contact with him.
Awesome. Thanks you guys.
Hey YouTube. Did you know that I've got an education company? I'm going to guess you didn't, because a lot of you guys DM me asking if I do. So it's called Cashflow Tribe. You can go to www.cashflowtribe.com, check it out. You can sign up for a completely free membership. There's also a premium membership that has all kinds of great features you can unlock, but just go check out the free membership. You've got a calculator you can use online completely free. You've got Canada's most robust online forums for real estate investors, and you've got some great resources and some free, completely free courses that you can get. And all you need to do is sign up for your free membership. It's an amazing network of Canadian real estate investors, and I hope you guys go grab your free membership today. Today I'm in Saskatoon, and I'm joined by Fraser and Vanessa from YXL Properties, and we discussed their 6th flip in 18 months. And what's really exciting is Fraser is actually on the cusp of transitioning into real estate full time. So I'm really excited to bring this story. As you guys can see on the door back there, we broke down and dived deep into the numbers. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to shoot this video.
Yeah, no, thanks for coming. Thanks for reaching out to us and connecting with us. Yeah, you guys are always welcome, and I love talking numbers and talking real estate, and yeah, I can chat numbers and stuff all day. So
in today's video, we're going to share exactly the numbers behind this deal, how they found this deal, and the design choices for this property. Let's get into it. And first of all, thanks Fraser for breaking down all the numbers. I know that this is what the fans really love and enjoy. So if you don't mind, let's maybe just talk real high level about where we are. We're in Saskatoon. So what's this neighborhood look like before we get into the numbers specifically on this project?
Yeah, this neighborhood's awesome. It's a pretty sought after neighborhood in Saskatoon. There's a lot of people buying houses in this area that the price points are a little bit higher compared to current market prices, like averages in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very good area. It's one of our target areas, and we ended up finding the property here. So yeah, it worked out really good.
Yeah, and so this was a private deal,
It was, yeah. We found it off market. It was a guy I knew actually, and they just wanted it gone, so we took it off their hands. And yeah, I can go through some of the numbers here, and we'll check it out.
Let's dive into it. So.
Yeah, so this is our company, YXL Real Estate Investments, and then my wife's company is Magdalena Designs. She does all the interior design, and not just like picking furniture. She's doing AutoCAD drafting and like laying everything out, like lighting design or lighting layout, electrical layout, which way the flooring's being laid, stuff like that. We're all about systems and processes. Yeah. So yeah, anyways, we picked this property up for about $225. The city assessment rate now on this property I think is around $355, $360, something like that. And we're going to put about $50,000 into this property. We do have an investor on this property, and the fixed costs, like your realtor fees, lawyer fees, the JV, stuff like that,
the holding costs,
utilities, that's going to run about $15,000. So then our after repair value on a conservative scale is $360,000. That's very conservative for this area, but I like to run all my numbers conservative. Keep your numbers true, like we were talking earlier. You don't lie to yourself.
It's really easy to lie to yourself.
Yeah. And then that leaves us with a gross profit of roughly $70,000, but that's split with the JV, with our investor.
Yeah. Okay, so let's maybe break this down line by line then. So purchase price $225. Is that the first thing you offered and they said yes, or what did that actually look like?
Yeah, we actually offered $220 and they came back at $225. Like I said, there was a lot of motivation to get out of this property.
Yeah.
So they came back and asked if we would do $225, and the numbers still worked for me, obviously. So we went ahead with it.
And when you're making your private offers, are you cash no conditions, or what does that look like?
We left it out on this one. We just did up an offer. We didn't even do subject to financing. We had a couple different lines on investors, so we knew that we could close it.
Yeah.
So we ended up closing this one cash.
Okay.
So that worked out good, yeah.
So rental costs, $50,000. Do you mind just walking us through high level what that consists of?
Yeah, so basically on this house, we're doing a kitchen, paint, flooring, bathroom, and that's pretty much it. All your big ticket items are done. Your kitchen runs roughly about $10,000. Your bathroom's another 10, flooring, paint, and miscellaneous is the remainder. So that's basically where that comes from. It's a super boring flip project, but that's what you want.
That's where the profit is.
Honestly,
right?
We never get houses like this. So
you don't want your investing to be too exciting. And that means that you don't have the systems and processes and procedures
exactly.
in place.
And even the houses, like usually we're knocking out walls and stuff like that. I'll take you guys to another property after this one.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's some beat up homes that we work with. So this is a treat. Our trades are gonna love this one.
Okay, and so $15,000 fixed costs. How do you go about estimating what your fixed costs are going to be?
We've done enough now. I know roughly where those numbers lay. And your realtor costs on the sale, or your big cost on that.
Chunk.
Yeah. So on 360, that'll be whatever, 12 grand. We'll get a discount. Like we work with the same realtor on our end. So we'll
you've built up a relationship with them. You're able to
he still gets a commission, but it's just a reduced commission because of volume.
Yeah.
So, and then the JV is about 750. We're hammering that out right now. We're building out our templates for our different JV styles. Like if it's a debt investing, so like a set interest rate, we have a JV for that. And if we do equity, like a 60-40 split like this one, we have a JV built for that. And we're just working out those processes right now, so we don't have to go back to the lawyers and get them to completely redraft it each time.
Yeah.
So because that's a big added cost when you start doing volume. So.
Okay, so let's kind of break down then exactly what this deal looks like from YXL and your investors' perspective. So you're the active partner, they're the money partner?
Yeah, we're the managing partners and they're the money partners. So on this one, it worked out. We negotiated a 60-40 split with equity on this investor, so YXL gets 60% and the investor gets 40%. And projected profits on this for YXL would be about $42,000, and then for the investor it works out to about $28,000, but it's completely passive. So it's a really good return. He's really happy with that. So, and then timeline is about 3 to 4 months.
And that includes actually listing and selling the property.
Yeah. We think it'll sell quick in this area, and honestly we could probably do the reno in about 2.5, maybe 3 months. So this is a quick one. It's nice and easy. Usually we're running 6-month timeline. So yeah, again, this is a treat. This isn't a conservative number. That's pretty actual, but yeah.
And so I know one of the questions people are going to ask is this split. How do you decide what's an appropriate split to offer to an investor?
This is actually a very interesting property because of the margins on this one. I had the purchase price cheap enough. Comps for other people scooping up flips in areas like this are going around 260. We actually lost a flip a little while ago to a cash offer a little bit, what would that be, east of here, and the price was around 260. So I offered this, I threw it up on a couple different platforms to investors that I do, and I offered it out at 260. I was debating on wholesaling it, so that would net about 35 completely passive, and then basically wholesaling is just when you put it under contract and then you can't handle it or you're too busy, you can wholesale the contract. And then so anyways, I had about 3 or 4 people that were interested at that price, so or at 260, so I could have wholesaled it. So me and the investor were going to do 50-50. That's what he wanted, and I just explained to him if we did do 50-50, then it nets about 35. So I might as well have just wholesaled it and took the quick cash, right?
You'd have less headaches wholesaling than actually executing.
Less of a timeline. So I could have had that done in 1 month versus 3 to 4 months. So we ended up working out a 60-40 because I do value working with this investor, just because he does.
Yeah.
I really like the guy. He's just a good guy, and he has the capital to fund projects like this, which is nice cash. So that opens up a whole new world for us.
Yeah.
So that in turn is valuable for us, and that's what we took into consideration. And then also where we're going as a company with access to capital like that, we might be able to leverage that out a little bit more and get into higher price points and get into better areas of just flips basically.
Yeah.
So which in turn brings larger margins. So
Yeah, I think that's great, and I think that that's a great lesson for a lot of the audience too, is, you know, you don't necessarily just have to do the generic 50-50 split that a lot of us are like accustomed to seeing. You can really build it out, and like, I love the fact that you built out essentially a business case for the investor to understand why they're not getting 50-50. I think that's really important to share your perspective. Hey man, look, I'm going to make $35,000 kind of headache, hassle-free if I wholesale it. So there needs to be an incentive here for me to really want to go the extra mile and like commit the 3 to 4 months of managing my project manager.
Exactly,
like
exactly. But we looked into the distance as a company and it worked out. But yeah, we're trying to shift everybody away from equity and move over to debt, just because you do pay a lot in equity. That's your most expensive money basically. So
yeah, and a money partner is less management from like a relationship standpoint versus an equity partner. An equity partner wants to usually be updated a lot more on the intricate details that are going on. They want status updates, all this, where a lender is simply looking like, are you making your interest payments?
Exactly.
Are you on the generic high level timeline? That's what really matters to them. Okay, so now Fraser's going to dive a bit deeper into exactly what did the investor invest as far as capital goes, and just kind of how that all flows. So take it away.
Yeah, so the investor capital into the deal is about it's exactly $313,000. That's an all cash investment. And then how it breaks down, how I got the $313,000. This is how I got to that number. So the purchase price is $225,000. $50,000 is your rental cost. $15,000 is your fixed cost, and again that's lawyers and realtors and stuff like that. And then we put a $23,000 reserve in, because like I was mentioning earlier, the worst thing that you can do is go back to your investor for more money, and it does happen. There are overages, like in these 100-year-old houses that we renovate. Like we just ran into knob and tube, and that blew the electrical budget up to like $8,000, right?
Yep.
You know,
absolutely.
And so it is good to have reserves. You do need to have them. And then that breaks down the profit to about $28,000 for the investor, $313,000 into the deal. So you divide those two, and it gives you your cash on cash ROI, or return on investment, and it's a really good return.
Yeah, and that's over 4 months.
That's 4 months.
So if we were to annualize it, it'd be 3 times this amount, right?
Exactly.
So you're looking at closer to 20% cash on cash.
And that's one thing I say too. If we kept your money busy all year, like out of one project into another, which relates back to the deal flow, you need to have deal flow coming in, which is what we're working on right now. Once you annualize it, it's a way larger number. You're up in the 20s. But people get scared of the bigger ROIs too, so you have to be careful of that. You can't say like, oh, you're gonna get a 20% ROI. Because people are like smart investors
their like BS detector might go off.
Exactly.
And they might get a little skittish about entering into that deal.
Yeah, so you gotta just really watch what you say and be conservative with your numbers. Don't lie to yourself. Just be diligent. That's all I can say.
I love it. And so I know one question we're definitely going to get is, why buy in cash? So do you mind breaking down for the audience why you decided to buy this house in cash rather than get a mortgage?
It was just easier, honestly. We're going for simplicity now. We have a couple investors coming on board with a larger capital reserve. So when you do put more cash into the deal, it actually drops your ROI, and basically how the numbers work on that, if he would have got a mortgage for that, say it would have been 60 some thousand down payment, and then he's getting a $28,000 profit, he's getting a huge return on his investment. So that's another piece that went into the equation when we decided to do a 60-40. This guy's doing all cash, so that's huge. We wouldn't have done a 60-40 with somebody that was qualifying for a mortgage on this one. So that's basically how that worked out.
Gotcha. Yeah. And so some of the reasons why cash is easier is just like, you're not going to have to necessarily get an appraisal done. You can just you can make those cash offers without having to delay going firm on the deal and having to wait 7 or 10 days in order to get the traditional financing.
And sellers love it. If you can close quickly, without any inspection. We didn't do inspection on this house. I went through it. I know what I'm looking for. We didn't make them come meet us again. It was just nice and easy. They met us at the property once and the deal was done. And I actually told her, I laid out the process for her. I said, basically sign this agreement. We get it signed up, and then we go to the lawyer, or you go to the lawyers a week or two before closing, and you give them direct deposit information, leave them a key, and we take care of the rest. And that's basically it from a seller standpoint. And that's one thing that we offer. It's important to make it simple for people when the motivation is high to get out of a property. You have to make it easy for them. So yeah,
I love it. Seems like great numbers. The project's just starting, so we're actually going to do a tour now. We'll check it out. You guys can see the before, and maybe we'll get some after photos later, and we'll share it with you. All right, guys. So now we're going to tour the property, and Vanessa's joined us. You're kind of the brains behind the operation as far as design goes. That's what we've heard.
I would say so.
Awesome. So they're essentially just going to walk us through the project, explain exactly the design choices you're making, kind of the reason behind it, and we'll even share some of the numbers. So let's check it out.
All right.
All right. So first thing we see kind of as we enter kind of your generic 60s, 70s style.
What I first saw was this little...
This is so stereotypical.
Exactly, and some would say take it out, people don't like it, it's kitsch and stuff, but I say keep it. It's so beautiful. For me, I think it's just, I try to salvage as much as I can to kind of the period of the house, so I think there's really something to be done, and it's kind of mid-modern can be really brought back, and it obviously kind of painted, maybe a bright color or a little bit tamer, maybe a navy, but definitely try to keep as much as you can from the house. Like even this light is pretty cool to me, but I know that not everybody would like it, but I think there's something you can really keep the flair of the house with, making it still more modern and just better for the buyer right now. So I think we're gonna keep, well, I know we're gonna keep this. We're going to keep this paneling as well. I think it's pretty cool. We'll paint it.
And so what color choices will you use for paint?
Oh, my first idea was maybe black, but I think that might be a little bit too much. We're thinking maybe some navy, but we'll have to say the kitchen will be really light, so but with black hardware, so some accents, so just kind of tie in everything in there. Here, this accordion door. This, you know, like you'd like to keep, but I think that's not very practical right now. So the idea, it's a little bit closed off when you come here. So we thought opening it and putting a bench here and some hooks, so then it would feel a little bit more open. However, we are in Saskatchewan and there's like big jackets and in the winter, so I always want to keep, you know, something really nice design-wise, but also practical. There's no point in doing something that's just going to be nice in pictures and then someone's going to hate living in here. So it might be a little more of a half bench facing this way, and then keeping half of a closet that you can actually close the door in there. So so far we're kind of just, we've ordered the kitchen. I've just picked all the countertop, all the tile, everything that's kind of like longer delays, and then here we're just gonna work on all of this would be built on site and kind of custom, so then kind of decide on that a little bit further in. So still deciding on that.
Take care of the big lead time items first though.
This is the kitchen, really good size, and it's actually in a really good, I mean, it's in good shape, however not very modern right now, not very, so probably needed an update. We were debating taking this wall out and really making it an open space. However, for the cost and the fact that some things out of this house, like it doesn't have an ensuite, the bedrooms are a good size but not huge, I don't think that the money would be worth all the work of taking this wall out. And also it's always nice still, the open concept, but also having some walls to put furniture on in the living room. And this opening is still really wide, so I think it still feels really open, so I think we're going to keep that. And our contractor laughs because I'm like, I'm not going to move the plumbing for like the first time ever. So actually this is going to stay, the layout's going to stay pretty similar. However, we're going to incorporate a bench here under this really cute window here that looks into the beautiful yard. and that way the dining table will be able to be a little bit more kind of shoved in the corner, and you'll have more walkway here, and it's not going to feel tight, and you'll be able to have a really good sized dining room here. So it's going to be more modern looking. We'll do some really cool shelves here, cool leather brackets on those shelves, and we'll do a custom hood, vent cabinetry hood that I'm very excited about. And then we'll have built-in fridge, microwave, always lots of storage. I think it's very important. And yeah, so we'll continue all the way here, and then we'll have a built-in bench here. So
nice. And so will this be like stainless steel appliances, or what will?
Stainless steel, so it'll be kind of a hidden hood vent in there, and a built-in cabinet hood vent here, hood there. So it'll look really modern. It's gonna be flat doors, but it's got some texture on it, and then the hood is just a solid color, and then we'll do black hardware everywhere. So that's gonna really look really nice. And then a really nice backsplash. So the backsplash is actually going to be kind of the star of the show here, which sometimes they do it more on the cabinets, but I think that's going to be the backsplash here.
Awesome. And so what sort of countertops will you have?
Quartz, yeah. I actually have the samples with me as well, so I can show you that later if you'd like. But yes, we mostly always do quartz countertops, especially in the kitchen. I think maybe you could do it in, you know, smaller areas like maybe your laundry room and maybe some bathrooms you could do laminate, and sometimes for the price of the house it's worth it. But mostly I think people like just the hard surface, and just it's no maintenance, it's easy to clean, it just looks really nice and rich. And then you can do your undermount sink, which is really nice as well, and people appreciate that, those little details. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So before we move on to the bedrooms, I'd love to just kind of chat through the flooring. So let's kind of talk through the flooring you guys are going to be using. We can see that there was carpet here before. You've torn it up, and actually pretty decent looking hardwood floors. So I'd love to just hear, you know, you talk through the choice on using the laminate or refinishing the hardwood floors. I know for myself personally, the market I invest in, if this was like a century home, we'd probably refinish the hardwood floors. But because this is kind of like, it's in that like 60s, 70s thing, like I think the newer flooring does make sense, but I'd love to hear your opinion.
Exactly. Well, that's usually exactly what we run into. I try to always keep it, but sometimes we run into the numbers. Just refit. This one's in really good shape, so you could probably just stain it or keep it as is. However, if you're going to refinish it and stain it, it's usually a lot more money.
You're
than
looking about
laminate.
$8 to $12 a square foot to refinish, when you can do laminate installed for $4 or $5. So what's the price difference? Depending on your budget and how everything falls, that's one thing that you can cut if you have the flooring.
And it breaks your heart because you try to really keep that, and it feels bad to just put laminate on it, but sometimes it's kind of better, first of all, money-wise, and also like just here there's a pretty good line, so we actually might keep this. We found a really good deal on the laminate that we could return if we ended up not taking it, so we were just like, let's buy it and kind of decide and see where we actually just took possession of this not far ago, so we just pulled it up. But just the continuous too, sometimes you run into, you want to keep the floor but it doesn't go through everywhere. Like here we would have to kind of
transition.
same thing in another flip that we did. We would have liked to keep it, but then in the kitchen area I wouldn't have had, and that was completely open, so it's like where do you cut it? It wouldn't make it nicer to just have a continuous floor, and it looks bigger and it just has that nice flow. So sometimes that's the problem with hardwood. You can have a really good spot where it's in good shape, but then not through the whole house. So sometimes, so here you could do you know, maybe an LVP here and keep the flooring here, but that's what I can remember. It doesn't go into the bedroom again or the hallway. So unfortunately, I think we will go with
such a limited space.
Because it's just the living room, so it's going to make it too choppy.
Where if you have all the same flooring throughout, it just feels like everything flows.
Even if we would have gone kind of in the hallway, maybe we could have done just the kitchen, but I do like when the floor just continues everywhere. So
100%.
But yes, you're right. It's nice to be able to keep it. For sure.
All right, let's check out the one of the bedrooms and chat through what we'll be doing there.
I think we'll do the whole flooring everywhere. the laminate everywhere, and then it does really update the space. We've just done a house kind of similar to this when you update all the doors, the trim, new paint, new flooring, and new closet doors as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's check out the basement.
Yeah. Yeah, and the basement's really good. We're going to salvage most of the basement, I think. You might as well talk about it.
Yeah, this is one of kind of the most cosmetic house we've ever done, in the sense that we're not going to change that much in the basement. Maybe change the carpet, but it's still in really good shape. It's just not maybe more modern, but again, probably trim.
Yeah.
Just to update it instead of that small trim that you see here, and just some paint. If you see in the half bathroom there, it's like a bright green. So change that. But other than that, the basement is in really good shape. And again, it's always kind of money-wise, is it worth investing a lot? And see?
And it's a good spot to be able to like just basically see where the budget falls. And this is a good place that you can cut because it's very livable. You have a really nice closet. You have a big bedroom here, bigger than the upstairs bedrooms, with a huge closet, lots of storage. The mechanical room's nice. You have a cold room. This is a good TV area. We'll get rid of that hutch. Maybe if the budget gets tight, you just put a coat of paint on it, if that. So it's nice to have that flexibility with homes like this. So this was a really good find.
Or if the budget's really going well, we could do kind of a little bit of a TV area with maybe electric fireplace in this case, or something to kind of just make it a little bit more homey and, you know, maybe sellable more quickly. But I think people can picture that in this case very easily. Sometimes it's more chopped up and you have to really do something to kind of center the space, but I think in this case it's really nice and livable here. So.
Yeah, and the foundation looks like it's in really good shape. We always try to check that, look for cracks in the mechanical room or anywhere you can get, and yeah, it's a really good house, really good find.
Awesome. Yeah, I love this project, guys. I'm really excited to see what you guys do with the finished product.
Yeah.
So that's the story behind 47 Brown Crescent. Thank you, Fraser and Vanessa, again for taking the time and just being so open with your information. I know the audience really enjoys it. And so if you guys enjoyed this video, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel, and otherwise, if people want to get in contact, what's the best way?
For me, probably my Instagram, Magdalena_designs, and I also have a Facebook page that you can follow as well.
Yeah, and then YXL Real Estate Investments, and you can just follow me on Instagram at Fraser Nybo. And yeah, it was great going through this with you, and yeah, I appreciate you guys coming out to Saskatoon and interviewing us. That's awesome.
Awesome, and there's going to be a lot more videos with them, so stay tuned. Hey YouTube, have you been thinking about becoming a wholesaler, but not sure how to get started? Maybe you've got no money, maybe you're just a little scared to get out of the gate. Well, I had Ammar from my wholesale team. He started and did his first deal in his first 68 days, made $25,000 as his first gross wholesale fee, write an ebook. So in this 20-page ebook, Ammar breaks down for you step by step how he went and knocked over 2,100 doors to make $25,000. Completely free ebook, just want to pay it forward to you guys. If you're interested in grabbing it, we'll throw a link in the video description down below. Grab your copy of Ammar's ebook today. We're back in Saskatoon, and I'm joined again by Fraser and Vanessa from YXL Properties, and today we're checking out their number 5 flip. And so this one's got a projected $40,000 profits. We're going to dive deep into the numbers and we'll give you a tour too. It's an amazing century home that they've been able to really play up the existing character. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, this home was a typical home for what we've been flipping recently. It's got a lot of big renovations and it turned out beautiful. We're about 2 weeks away from sale right now, so.
Yeah, lots of be great before and after, lots of renovation, lots of upgrades on this house, so it's good. These old houses are great to get creative on, so I love working with them, so I'm excited for you guys to see the change.
Awesome. So let's dive into the numbers. So now we're sitting down with Fraser and we're going to dive into another flip they're currently working on. Completely different than the last one we checked out. This is actually a century home, so there's a lot of differences when it comes to century homes. But if you don't mind, Fraser, just walk us through the numbers.
Yeah, definitely. We picked this property up for about $161,000, and we're going to put about $90,000 into it, with about $15,000 in fixed cost. And then the ARV on this, it's fluctuating a little bit with comps in the area, but we're projecting about a $310,000 sale. So that leaves us with a projected profit of just over $43,000. And then as the investment breakdown goes, Does that make sense? Is there anything you want
Yeah,
to touch
let's maybe
base?
just go through line by line. So purchase 161.5. Was
Yeah.
this a private deal, MLS?
This was MLS, but I found this one before the realtor and ended up sending it to the realtor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so what was it listed for?
It was listed for, I think it was listed 165 was the list price.
So you were able to negotiate a bit on
Yeah,
this.
there was another offer on it, and I
Yeah.
know who the other offer was, and I found out after they offered 155. So we were
Okay.
both right in the range
Yeah.
there. So
And so with this, was this another cash offer?
this
there any
was
conditions?
this was cash, no conditions on this
Yeah.
house. Yeah, we needed to do that to get it closed, just because there was a competing offer on it. So
Awesome. And then do you know how long was it listed for?
1 day.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
move fast,
Yeah, it was
execute
it was
fast.
priced right. Yeah.
Got you. So 90,000 in reno, so a bit of a bigger project than the last one we saw.
Yeah, this is a typical project for us. We do a lot of homes in this area, and we're usually running that 90,000 plus renovation budget. These are big homes. They're old. There's a lot of rotten wood and everything that needs to be renovated. Like we did all new electrical, a lot of the new plumbing, and just all the big ticket items. So that's where that renovation budget comes from.
And so do you know, what was your kind of margin for error here? What's your reserve?
We have about we had about a $10,000 reserve, but I think we're going to eat most of it up on this one. So
And you had mentioned earlier that that was related to the electrical.
yeah,
Now
exactly.
knob and tube,
Yeah,
wasn't
they were
expecting
sneaky
it.
on this one.
And do you mind breaking that down for the audience? Because I think that this is something to be really important of. You can, like, even an inspector wouldn't really catch the issue here.
Yeah.
Right? So even had you hired a home inspector, they wouldn't have known. So why wouldn't they have known that this house has knob and tube?
Yeah, they could have caught it, but it was a cash no condition offer, so we actually bought it sight unseen too, just because the numbers
okay.
did work well. But there was a new panel, not new panel, but upgraded panel in the basement with copper wiring. But then what they did, they ran it up into the wall, and then they tied it into the wall, and ran knob and tube from that. So
Yeah.
pretty sneaky.
So like even if you were to pull out like an outlet at first, it would look like.
You could have seen it on the outlet, on
you-
some of the outlets, though,
okay.
because some were tied in, so it was kind of like a mix and match.
Oh,
But
okay.
from the panel, it looked 100% copper, so it was just, even if you would have pulled a couple different plugs, you would have,
Yeah,
you
you
might
might
have seen
not have caught
copper.
it.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. So, but yeah, that blew the budget up a little bit. So
Yeah. And then so for ARV, how do you determine what the ARV is in like an older neighborhood with like all sorts of different styles of construction and
Yeah.
sizes of units?
this is kind of a melting pot for homes. There's a lot of new homes going in, infills, and the comps are tricky in this neighborhood actually, because like I was mentioning to you earlier, there'll be a house listed, a nice house at 255 or 260 say, and it'll sit for 4 months or 4+ months. I think it's still on the market, and then one down the street to list for like mid threes, and it'll fly off the shelf. So it's hard to get a read on the comps. Good thing I didn't get hit by that. And once you start digging in and doing the research and talking to the realtors that are selling these homes, there are factors why certain ones are sitting longer than others. Some is area, and it's very block by block in this neighborhood, and some is other factors such as like an apartment building nearby that has even just 4 units. One example over here is it looks like a normal house, but it's really long in the back, and it has apartments sideways. And the realtor feedback on that one is a lot of people don't want to buy the house next door because apartments are looking down into the
onto it,
backyard.
yeah.
And that's why one house in particular is sitting so long. So it's actually skewing the comps a little bit and making it a little bit trickier to get a grasp on it. But I'm pretty confident in the 310,000 range. This is a brand new home, pretty much in a good area, and it's going through gentrification, this area too. So.
And so on this project, you had a joint venture partner as well?
We did, yeah. This was actually our first investor. He's done a couple projects with us now. So we just did the classic 50-50 on this. And we don't do 50-50 anymore, but because he was our first investor. And there's other factors also. He is a realtor, so commissions are built into the JV and a couple different things like that. So you have to take that into account when you look at these numbers. So here's the equity, or we did an equity 50-50. Projected profits about 43,500, and investor profit should be about 21,750. And if we flip to the next page here, this is how it all broke down. It did the 50-50 split. The investor qualifies for the mortgage. He qualified for the mortgage at 161 with a 20% down payment and closing costs. So that's $35,000, $90,000 renovation budget, and then fixed cost of about $7,000. And I left the $8,000 out of that because a lot of that comes on the tail end of the sale. So this is his actual capital that he's putting in.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that takes his total to about $132,000 into the deal. The projected profit is $21,750. So that actually gives him a 16% cash on cash return. But that is a little bit skewed also because you have to remember he's not taking commission as part of the agreement. So, but then again, it's another sale that he wouldn't have had too, so it kind of balances, and we're both happy doing it. So, but yeah, that's how those numbers fall.
And so how long will a project like this take?
This has been 4 months from start to completion, and then whatever it takes to list it, probably a month or two.
Yeah. And what will your
sale.
listing strategy be on a property like this? Do you try and list low in order to get multiples? Do you list high and negotiate down?
Yeah, we're going to go a little bit higher and negotiate down. I think 310 should be a it is a conservative number. But yeah, there's just a lot of comp skewing the data in the neighborhood. So I think 310 is just a good, safe number, and I think we should be able to sell it in a short period of time at that price. It's a beautiful home.
Yeah. I'm really excited to show it off. You said we're about 2 weeks away from finish?
Yeah.
So it's looking great. There's still a lot of work to get done, but let's check it out.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey guys, so I'm here with Vanessa and Fraser again, and they're going to give us a tour of this property. Reminder, we're only 2 weeks away from it being finished. I'm really excited though, and I love the fact that you guys were able to play up some of the heritage around the property, because this property is like 100 plus years old, right?
Yeah, it's an old home.
All right, let's check it out.
There's a closed-in porch here, which we haven't done much yet to it, but it will get all painted. The windows are just boarded because we were painting the exterior of the house, but lots of light in here. It'll be really nice to just have this as extra space in the house, so we'll make it all nice and shiny soon.
So is this a 3-season room, or does this have heat?
It doesn't have
not,
heat.
yeah, it doesn't have heat.
So it's just an enclosed porch.
Just, yeah, extra. Okay.
So come into the house. So we just redid pretty much everything, kept the original trim. It was kind of a hard decision, but to just redo everything would have been, to make it especially look like this, would have been a lot of money, and it just really would have just been a shame. It's a really nice trim and all the detail around the windows. So we kept that, painted it dark, so a nice contrast with the light floor going in everywhere.
The flooring just went in yesterday, today. There's a lot going on right now. The electrical's almost done. Plumbing's gonna get tied in right away. It's all just that finishing little stuff right now. So
we redid all the ceilings, so pot lights everywhere. So that I find just changes everything. When you have the pot light, it just looks a lot newer. It just brightens this place up. I just really, you don't realize how much it's going to make a difference, and then just to have the clean ceilings is really nice. Another detail that I really wanted to keep was this little trim detail all the way around. That also it's just true to the period of the house, and it would have just been a shame to get rid of it. Same things with these old grills and air vents. They're just really nice if you can keep them. We've done them spray painted like gold or silver before, but this is nice, just continuing with the trim color. We're trying to keep as much detail as we can. My favorite is this glass here in the living room. It's just beautiful. You would never be able to find this again, so try to protect all that heritage of the house for sure. But try to make it more modern. So for this, we opened the kitchen, and we kept it with wood. I just think it's just so important to keep kind of like the style of the house. So we've got some oak cabinets here that are stained kind of this brown gray color. And then this was 2 rooms. This was just kind of another storage room, and there was no bathroom on the main floor. So, I mean, the kitchen's pretty small, so to have this open and have all this as working space is just great. Again, like I always like to do design that are not only like beautiful, but that someone that lives in the house is really going to enjoy, and it's going to be practical. So it's going to be nice for entertaining. You can have seating here, the dining room will be here, so you can imagine just having a lot of people over. Even though it's not a huge house, it feels really nice and open here. So we've got the sink there looking over the window. We had to completely reconfigure this kitchen. The sink was here. They had washer dryer here. I don't even remember. I think they had a little portable dishwasher here in the corner. Like, I could show you some pictures, and before it was in pretty rough shape, this house.
Yeah, this is
for sure. Yeah. This is good before and after. This for sure is not the same as our brown property where you kind of just changed more of the cosmetic. This was completely redrawing the plans and reconfiguring the layout. This was brick under there, and usually always try to keep all the brick, but it was in really bad shape and there was no brick on that side. So we ended up just drywalling it. And then here there was no bathroom on the main floor. So it's always nice to have a bathroom on the main floor. If you have guests, they don't have to go up into where the bedrooms are. And then we were able to put the laundry in there as well. So that's really nice to have the laundry on the main floor, not to have to go all the way to the basement when you have little kids. So we added that bathroom here. And I just wanted to keep a glass door just to have, again, more lighting here. So that's what we did with this door. And then we changed those two windows as well. This window was going lower, so we wouldn't have been able to put the sink, so we just kind of kept the same width, but brought it higher. And then that way we could put the sink there.
And then with that, you run into problems on the exterior, especially if you're salvaging the exterior, because now you have to patch it. So that's where flower boxes come in handy, and they look really good. They look really sharp. And then back to the door too. We have these in our home. She redesigned our home a little while ago. And it's nice for just mood lighting if you want to leave a light on. It gives a little bit of light to the room. Kind of nice when they're watching TV, and it just gives a good homey feel to it.
Yeah. And then because we were going with a little bit of the darker cabinets, we did do some glass in the upper cabinets to display some of your nice dishes, but keep some cabinets closed, because I know sometimes it's nice to have more closed cabinets, but you'll have tons of storage and tons of storage here on the pantry as well. And then we'll have a full 36-inch fridge, which is really nice. In the old homes, usually you have just smaller fridges and smaller appliances, so it's nice to have the full size. And then same with just lots of storage in the drawers and below here. So I'm really excited about this transformation. It's really neat. Yeah,
it's nice. It's a lot of counter space for a house at this age. And I think for the comps in the area, I don't know if there's anything that really compares to it. So back to the numbers that I was going through earlier, the 310,000 ARV or after repair value, hopefully we should be able to push that, but I like keeping it conservative and keeping it around the numbers that are realistic. So it'll be interesting to see where it falls. We try to keep all the data from everything that we sell and everything we do, and just try to just make it as efficient as possible and just go from there.
Awesome. Do you guys mind just letting us know, who do you think the avatar is of like your end user or the end buyer?
Yeah.
What does that person look like?
It'll probably be, it's a trendier neighborhood that's or it's starting to be revitalized a little bit. A lot of investments going into the area. So probably your first time home buyer or your step up home buyer, like more of a hipster crowd, I guess you could say. Yeah.
There's tons of restaurant on 20th, and there's just nice coffee shop. You're close to the river. Someone that likes not your typical house, cookie cutter house, and just something with a little bit more personality, and that likes being close to the core, maybe not having a vehicle, just being able to just walk everywhere and enjoy kind of the best of Saskatoon, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds really similar to what we invest in London, Ontario, right? Kind of going for that younger urban dweller type thing. And they really appreciate the history and the character, right?
Yeah.
And they love the old trim, the stained glass window, I think they'll love. And then also having kind of like the newer lighting fixtures and stuff just to tie everything.
Exactly. You still want kind of the amenities of like the newer house, but you still want some of that character. And sometimes that means it's not perfect, but someone that likes that is not going to care that some, you know, maybe the doors that have shifted over the years, they're not going to mind that as much. And
Or
yeah.
the squeaky floors is a big one.
Yeah.
People don't mind squeaky floors in this age of homes, but in the 1960s renovations of flips that we do, people do pick, that is a big thing. That's probably the #2 feedback we had on our last one was squeaky floors. So
But
it's
it was still a 60, 50-year-old house, so it's like, well, I get it, but
Yeah.
it's still an older home. But for here, then it won't mind. And it's funny, for me, I'm from Montreal, and I'm used to older houses. And for me, I want the floor to squeak. I'm like, what do you mean? It's nice when the floor squeaks. And yeah, this kind of neighborhood really reminds me of Montreal more, where you can kind of walk to restaurants and cafes and stuff. So I enjoy those old houses, even though they are a lot of work, but you have to get creative and make the best of them, and make the best of sometimes the smaller spaces. So they're really fun to do. I don't know if the renovation aspect and working on them is great, but I think usually, and the before or after, usually they're so fun to look, kind of the changes that you made, and to restore these houses and have someone that can live in it again. I think it's better than bulldozing it and just starting new.
such a huge change. It's massive. Massive transformations in these homes. But a lot of work put in by the trades too.
Yeah, for
These homes
sure.
are a lot of work. So, but yeah, we love it.
So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. And if they want to reach out to you, what's the best way to get in contact?
You can just follow me on Instagram at Fraser Nybo or go to our website at yxlrealestate.ca.
Follow Magdalena _designs, and I do work on our flips. I also do custom renovations, so reach out to me if you need any design work.
Awesome. Thanks again, guys.
Yeah, no, thank you guys, and thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you like that or like the video.
Thanks again to Fraser and everyone else that's come on the YouTube channel. I hope you guys are enjoying these YouTube videos. If you are, smash that like button. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to my channel. And a reminder, this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to these compilation videos. We've created an entire playlist and series you can check out right here. Or if you just want other great Canadian real estate content, check out this playlist right here. I'll see you in the next video.